Hey Bradley, I recently sold one of my roofing lead gen sites for a weekly flat fee of $800, but I feel like I could have pushed for more. That's not bad. I mean, it depends on how many leads you're generating, but that's pretty good for one site. $3,200 a month. It's pretty good. Last week I sent the business owner 12 leads in a week, of which two of them are from customers explicitly looking for a roof replacement, which is a high ticket, 10 to 25 gross. And the profit margin for roof replacement is about 50% and higher for roof repair. His closing rate is about 3 out of 10. Here are my questions. First of all, how do you typically structure a lead gen deal? Do you do a weekly, monthly flat fee or a pay per lead deal? I do all of the above. My preferred method is a revenue share model with tree service contractors, which is 10% of any job that they close from a lead that I generated for them. That is my preferred method. I don't do rank and rent much at all anymore, although it's still a good option. But I have mainly stuck with pay per lead or revenue share models. Usually I do pay per lead with a new service provider that is buying leads from me. I'll do pay per lead with them first until I've developed a good working relationship with them, which means they've paid on time or usually for pay per lead, excuse me. I usually do upfront payments, which I charge them, we agree on they're going to buy 10 leads. Okay. And then I have them submit a payment to me for those 10 leads up front. Because if you try to charge people after the leads have been generated, sometimes you don't get paid, or sometimes you're chasing them down for the money that they owe you. So I learned several years ago to stop that shit. I might do a free trial where I'll give them a couple of leads to get them in on board. But once I've sent them a couple of leads, then I charge them up front. Again, straight up. Like if you look, let's start off with 5 leads. That's fine. Buy 5 leads. And over the course of the next week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, I'll send you 5 leads. And then you can tell me if you want to continue the service, you can buy more credits at that point. So I like to do pay per lead, but then after initially, and then after a few months, if they've developed, their communication is good, I don't have to chase them down for money or anything like that, then I may offer to them a revenue share model, which is where I say, look, I'll give you 10%, excuse me, I'll generate leads for you, and you don't pay for the leads until you've closed a sale. And then you give me 10 for in the tree service industry, it's 10. I get 10% because that's what I worked out. If you're in a different industry like roofing, you obviously are probably going to need to work out some different sort of compensation arrangement. And that way I get 10% of the contract price for whatever it is that they closed. And they don't pay for it unless they've made money from the lead. But then I get 10% of it. That again, you got to be careful about that type of monetization model, though, because unless you have a way to verify it, they can steal from you. Ask me how I know. I've caught a lot of tree contractors over the years stealing from me, which is why now I only do it after I've developed a good working relationship. And by the way, they can still end up stealing from you even after you've thought that you developed a decent trusting relationship with them. So I always say, trust but verify. So there's a way to do that as well. And that's part of the reason why when I do revenue share model with my tree contractors, I force them onto high level and charge them $100 a month to use it. But it's the lead pipeline or the lead management app that then keeps track of every lead and the status of that lead, so that I always know when a lead has been closed that I generated, because it's marked as such in the high level pipeline as a job completed, and that's what sends the notification to me that I'm owed for a particular job that was closed. Hopefully that's clear. So, anyways, how do I come up with the cost per lead? For me, I use Google Ads to determine what a reasonable cost per lead would be, which is slightly less than if they were going to do lead generation through Google Ads. That's how I do it. So seriously, I'll run an ads campaign in a location with search ads and try to figure out what my average cost per conversion is because of tree service ads. It depends on the area, though, because it can be hard to judge that. In Northern Virginia, they're incredibly expensive, but in other areas, I've gotten it to be actually, I can make them profitable. So I usually do that if I don't know, if I don't have an idea of what a good lead would be sold for, then I'll just set up an ads campaign in that in that location for that industry and find out what the average cost per conversion is, and then I will base my cost per lead off of that. It's usually less than what it would cost to go through Google Ads, and that's kind of a pitch, or that's kind of an angle that I promote, if that makes sense. Like, hey, this is cheaper than if you're generating from Google Ads, 40% cheaper, 50% cheaper, whatever it is. That's clear. Okay.